Thank you so much for joining us on Week News this morning on WXCW. We still have another hour of news ahead of us.
So let's go to Week News anchors Teresa O'Shea and Sean Kreisman and find out what's coming up ahead at 9.
Yeah, good morning, Rob and Jen. A lot we're following for you here at 9 o'clock after another morning of morning rain. Long deluge, day-long deluge of caused flooding all over Southwest Florida. Meteorologist Scott Sediker will break it down much better than I just tried to. Expecting things to be dry eventually.
He's got a breakdown of it all. Plus, as many of you know, Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump still planning on skipping the GOP debate happening tonight. But is this move a favor for him? More on this ahead on Week News this morning.
Live from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us here for the 9 o'clock hour of Week News this morning on WXCW. I'm Teresa O'Shea.
And I'm Sean Kreisman. A lot to get to in the next hour. But first, some of the best video and sound from overnight and this morning in the Week News Eye Opener.
The IQ of the debate went up a couple dozen points, I would say.
With the debate just hours away, Donald Trump is still refusing to attend, a point he made clear last night in an appearance on Fox News.
I don't think not showing up at the debate tomorrow night is good for America.
This is much tougher than doing the debate with Megyn Kelly.
Please stand down. This fight is ours for now, in the courts.
Overnight, 3 more members of the group occupying a federal wildlife refuge were arrested. Now the total arrest count sits at 11 since the group started the stand-in 3 weeks ago.
Every child who drank or cooked with this water was potentially exposed and thus is at risk for consequences.
There's a lawsuit in Flint, Michigan demanding the lead pipes in the city's water system be replaced. Now there's more than 100 kids showing elevated levels of lead.
Challenger, go and throttle up. Challenger, go and throttle up.
It was this day back in 1986 that the country was watching. The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded live on TV and it killed all 7 crew members that were on board.
We've suffered a tragedy and a setback, but we'll forge ahead, wiser this time and undaunted.
The Kurds feel so angry that they don't have a seat at the negotiating table in Geneva.
Peace talks for Syria begin in Geneva tomorrow. Preparations are already underway at the UN headquarters. It is still unclear who will attend.
Stolen by J.R. Smith, down the floor. LeBron James off the board by J.R. as he caught him in his rearview mirror.
That's your Wink News this morning, Eye Opener.
All right, breaking news we're following for you out of Collier County. 1 person is dead after a crash on Airport Pulling Road and Prospect Avenue.
Let's get you right out to Week News reporter Stephanie Susskind live at the scene. Steph, we understand you have some new information you just found out.
Well, I just spoke with Florida Highway Patrol troopers who tell me there may have been a 3rd car involved in this crash. It's all still under investigation right now on Airport Pulling Road near Progress Avenue, and you can see troopers are investigating the car that was heavily damaged in this crash, and the driver of that car was killed in the crash. The medical examiner was on scene just about 20 minutes ago removing that woman's body from this car. But this road has been blocked, this turn lane, since early this morning when the crash happened. It was around 5 o'clock this morning, and FHP says that that driver was actually heading northbound on Airport Pulling Road when she crossed over the median and was T-boned by an Entenmann's delivery truck. Now, the part that they're still trying to gather more information about is whether there was a 3rd car involved that actually hit that gray car, pushing it over the median. They're looking to get more information about that. They're trying to get surveillance video from the gas station here and surrounding businesses to try to give them a better idea of exactly what happened and why. But we do know that the female driver of that car was killed in this crash. We don't have any identifying information about her at this time. And troopers are still investigating exactly how this all played out. So they still have their emergency vehicles here in the right-hand turn lane here on Airport Pulling Road, and they will still be here for some time as they continue to investigate this crash. So just keep that in mind if you are heading in this area this morning. Reporting live in Collier County, Stephanie Susskind, Wink News this morning.
Well, as you can see from Stephanie's live shot, still wet roads, the rain still coming down across Southwest Florida. There's our live Sanibel Harbor Marriott Skycam as we point off to the south and west. And when I come back, we'll talk about that chance of strong or severe weather later this afternoon.
Live, this is Wink News Campaign Central.
Tonight's 7th GOP debate in Des Moines, Iowa will go on as planned, minus Donald Trump.
Week News reporter Marley Hall, she has the latest from Des Moines, Iowa, where the Republican presidential frontrunner plans to hold his own event.
With the debate just hours away, Donald Trump is still refusing to attend. Marley Hall, Wink News Now.
The GOP candidates who are participating in the debate have said that they hope to use the opportunity to get some airtime while the frontrunner Donald Trump sits this one out. Iowans will cast their caucus votes on Monday.
All new this morning, some pretty alarming news about health insurance right here at home. A survey just released this morning says most uninsured Americans are sitting on the sidelines as sign-up season comes to a close. We News anchor Rob Spicker, he's been following this for us live here in the studio. Rob, some of the stats in this survey are alarming, but frankly, pretty scary as well.
I know, Sean. When I read this story this morning, I was shocked. I'm sure it'll shock many others. These numbers that have just come in by the Kaiser Foundation find only 15% of the uninsured in this country know that Sunday is going to be the cutoff deadline to sign up. To go even further, more than 70% of those without health insurance right now say they haven't even tried to figure out if they qualify for the two main coverage expansions in the health care law. Also, only 1 in 100, so that's 1%, only 1% know there is a minimum penalty for being uninsured. That actually goes up this year to $695. Finally, this survey says that about 2/3 of those uninsured say they have not been contacted about signing up for health coverage. Now, as far as approval for Americans, the country is still divided over this law. 44% view it unfavorably, 41% have a favorable view. Florida does happen to lead the nation with enrollments under the Affordable Care Act. We have more than 1.5 million people buying into the health plans already. Federal health officials say that 90% of Florida consumers who then sign up are eligible to get taxpayer-paid financial assistance to lower down their monthly premiums. So if you're here in Florida, the first place to sign up is healthcare.gov. Sean?
I want to get on that, Rob. Thanks so much. New overnight, Spain's economy isn't doing so well these days, but today it's a little better. We'll show you this. New numbers show the unemployment rate edged down to 20.9%. That's from 21.2%. The Popular Party is the acting ruling party, and it's struggling from a new government. So this downtick is unemployment is positive news for them. Spain's unemployment rate remains the second highest in European Union. That's after Greece. All right, speaking of today, there are widespread strikes across Greece. Journalists have a range of other professions in protest of planned pension reforms that are part of the country's third international bailout requirements. Doctors have also joined in the protests against the reforms, which critics say could lead to drastic income cuts. Today's 24-hour strike pulled news bulletins off air, while news websites were not being updated. Tomorrow's newspapers are also not going to be printed. Here at home, the 60-day state legislative session continues in Tallahassee, and on the agenda today, the Senate will meet to begin drafting a state budget.
That's right. Governor Rick Scott is asking lawmakers to pass a $79 billion budget for this year. His Florida First budget cut taxes by $1 billion and eliminates corporate income tax for manufacturers and retailers. However, part of his plan would include cutting nearly 1,000 state jobs. This morning, the Everglades Coalition will hold a news conference to ask for 25% of the Florida and Water and Land Conservation Initiative funds. Sponsors of the state's legacy bill will share their vision to speed up restoration of our Everglades ecosystems. That conference will begin at 11:30.
Medical marijuana will be back on the election ballot next November. That's according to John Morgan, the chairman for United for Care. Advocates have high hopes it passes in November after narrowly being defeated in 2014. Wink News did reach out to Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, who opposed Amendment 2 last time, but we haven't heard back. This morning marks the anniversary of a dark day in American history. 30 years ago, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded just seconds after takeoff.
A warning, the video we're about to show you is of that explosion. It's an image most people who remember the disaster will never forget. All 7 crew members on board died, and our shuttle program was grounded for the next 2.5 years.
And one of those on board, Krista McAuliffe, who was aiming to become the first teacher in space. There's now an elementary school named after her in Southwest Cape Coral. Events are planned there all day today to remember those brave lives lost.
Plus, NASA will pay tribute to all of its fallen crew members with a wreath-laying ceremony at the Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. Meanwhile, SpaceX performed a successful test of its parachute system for the crew of the Dragon spacecraft near Coolidge, Arizona. It's part of its final development and certification work with NASA's Commercial Crew Program. SpaceX rigged 4 main parachutes to deploy just as they would when the Crew Dragon returns to Earth with astronauts aboard. Initially, the spacecraft will splash down safely in the ocean under parachutes, but ultimately, the company wants to land the vehicle on land using 8 Super Draco engines. Pretty crazy. Well, we're keeping our eyes on another high-up spot this morning. It's Harriet's nest here in Southwest Florida, and of course, her famous bald eagle family.
Yeah, you can see it right here. We're hearing from some of you out there that her second egg has already hatched. And take a look. Even the Southwest Florida Eagle Cam Twitter there says 2 babies were there in the news. Like thousands of you at home, of course, we'll be keeping our eyes on Harriet, keeping you updated. And I'd like to do a play-by-play for you right now, but there's nothing happening.
It looks like we're blurring part of Harriet out,
yeah.
for
Harriet
purposes.
doesn't want you to see this part of her.
I think it's just a raindrop on the lens. Speaking of raindrops on the lens, Scott?
Yes, we are tracking rain, and obviously Harriet's nest a little wet because of the rain that continues to fall across Southwest Florida. Right now, we are seeing some breaks in the rain. When I come back, we'll have some rainfall totals for you, talk about the rainfall expected today. We could see some strong to severe weather. I'll have that when I come back.
Welcome back to Wake News this morning at WXCW. We have a quick follow-up right now to a story we brought you earlier this week.
Some lighter news here. Remember that sloth stranded on a highway in Ecuador? If you remember, well, check it out. He's back in his habitat. There he is. The sloth got scared. The little guy crossing a newly opened highway, and the pictures of the rescue quickly went viral. You've probably seen it on your social media account. Now he's safely back in his habitat, enjoying the tree life instead of a concrete pole that he had to endure earlier. So a little bit of good news for the guy. I'm sure he's happy to be back at home. Now here at home for us, though, it has been a wet one. I know we got out this morning. We had the umbrellas out, the rain jackets out.
Windshield wipers.
Keep them on. Keep them out. For a few more hours. Okay. I think by this afternoon, the last kind of gasp of this storm system will work its way through with the cold front. And then this evening, we're going to dry things up. So looking forward to tomorrow when a lot more sunshine shows up and we get to finally dry things out. Wait till you see some of these rainfall totals coming up. There's our live sky cam. That's our Sanibel Harbor Marriott Resort and Spa sky cam, especially over the weekend, looking very nice. Temperatures in the mid-70s.
All right, if you're looking for a job or maybe just a new direction in life, get your resume ready because today Lowe's is holding a job fair in Naples.
They are. The company is looking for applicants who specialize in kitchen cabinet design, home decor sales, flooring sales, plumbing, cashier work, and more. Maybe you qualify for that. There are 2 application locations open from 10 this morning until 3 this afternoon. From 10 to 3, they do ask that you complete an application and assessment online before you arrive. Well, the weather, we've talking about this, might have kept you indoors all this week. So if you're looking for a fun way to spice up your weekend, what better way than with the flavors of Southwest Florida?
That's right. It should be nice this weekend, too. So where's Wink Now? Wake News reporter John Treeweiler joins us live with the answer. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning to you, Sean and Therese. We're at the Shell Factory in North Fort Myers. Oh, going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you out here hopefully Sunday.
Wait. John, why are you talking about the little red lobster behind you?
He's a crawfish.
What is it?
Crawfish.
Crawfish.
Oh, my bad.
Come on.
I'm sorry, crawfish.
Sean.
It's not a lobster, Sean. It's a crawfish.
I'm sorry.
He's new
I got my
here.
crustaceans mixed up there.
We're sorry.
I do apologize about that,
It's
too.
okay. We'll find some in the gumbo. We'll get a nice bowl of that to try.
John, we're going to check back in with you in just a bit, buddy. All right, we do want to feature your nonprofit organization, special fundraising event, or unique attraction in our Where's Week Now segments in the morning. Why are you laughing?
Because...
Tell them how they can do it.
Because you can send us an email to thismorning@wakenews.com. Dress Hollywood up as any kind of crustacean. We'll have Sean guess what it is, so we can share that with our entire community. No, no, it's a crustacean.
Yeah, but you didn't know it was a crawfish.
A crawfish. No, I said crawfish.
All right, we'll be back after the break. All right, now in Wink News, big business is taking note of the latest selfie trend. There are several products out there in the market to help you look flawless when you snap those pictures.
So
Trace loves those.
Yeah, right. I'm such a selfie person. So Wink News looked into this and found there's something for selfie addicts of all ages.
Nicole Borders admits it. She's a selfie addict. Young and old, people can't get enough of selfies.
It's taking something too serious. It kind of just like takes the fun out of it. And it's just a picture.
Therese O'Shea, Wink News now.
There's a picture of Therese and I that we just took, too.
Is it a selfie, though,
Yeah,
if we're
we
both
go back,
in
I
it?
got to read that.
Okay.
The different settings you're given on a different day, so you don't have to keep reapplying. So again, talking about selfies, a lot of people are taking a lot of stuff on the market. Business
That's a good
is
one.
profiting.
You need to post
from
that to Facebook so that we can share it.
I will do that in the break. All right, speaking of makeup, women have been using it for years, but get this, now men are catching up when it comes to investing in their looks.
Yeah. Like this guy right here. Right now, sales of male grooming products are soaring as younger men try to put their best face forward. So experts say that male cosmetic procedures such as Botox injections have increased 273% in the last 2 decades. In just the past 5 years, sales for the male personal care market in the U.S. jumped almost 15%.
Over the last few decades, we've seen the definition of masculinity really shift. And it's made men much more accepting of using grooming products.
Men just want to look a little bit better. They do not want to look different.
All right, now some analysts predict the fastest growing segment for men over the next few years will be hair care.
I believe it. You wake up like that, though, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely I do.
so.
I just put it on, boom, you're good to go. Wink News is back in less than 3 minutes. We're live on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
You're watching Wink News this morning, Southwest Florida's news leader. Time now is 9:27.
All right, welcome back. We're coming up at 9:30 at the New York Stock Exchange. Opening bell just about to ring.
Let's check in with Wink News Money Watch reporter Jill Wagner. She's live at the Stock Exchange with our business and consumer news. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning. Trace and Sean, some good numbers on jobs that we just got. The Labor Department says applications for unemployment benefits fell last week. They were at a 6-month high. So it's a sign that maybe the job market is stabilizing a bit. Here on Wall Street, we just heard the opening bell, and so far, so good. Right now, the Dow is up 63 points. Yesterday, a pretty rough day here for the markets. California is setting some new energy efficiency standards for LED light bulbs used in homes. It's the first state to do so. It's likely the federal government will also adapt those new standards. Also, the government is going to soon be voting on whether to let you buy and use cable boxes from companies other than your cable provider. The FCC says it would help bring down cable costs. The average household pays $231 a year to rent those set-top cable boxes, so unlocking the market could also help companies like Apple, Amazon, and Roku deliver cable to a whole new world. Therese and John.
Okay, Jill, no secret. I like to be honest here. I put myself out here, so we've all been late to work.
Never.
There's a new survey about some of the most outrageous excuses. I have my own. What do you have?
All right. So everyone's got an excuse. These are the most bizarre. For one, somebody once said, this is according to a career builder survey, someone said there was a bear that fell asleep on the hood of their car. That is never good. Somebody else, they told their boss that a truck with Vaseline fell on the highway and their cars were sliding across the road. I guess that would be a problem too. And another person said they were detained by Homeland Security. And somehow still they made it in, late but never. Therese and Sean.
Well, yes, better late than never. But if you're detained by Homeland Security, I would think that you're not making it to work for a while.
Still far away.
I think you've got bigger problems than being late to work.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty creative, though. A for effort. That's creative. I'm not going to give you what I use because then work's going to know and I got to change it up again.
Right. Hopefully the boss appreciates creativity.
Right. Jill, good to talk to you. New York, live there. All right, let's get a check on weather right now. A rainy start to our morning. Scott has more. Scott?
Yeah, it looks like that rain will continue. Watching it continue to move onshore. We have been seeing some breaks in the rain.
And now on Wink, the police shooting death of Michael Brown caused major unrest in Ferguson, Missouri. You may remember, well, now months after negotiations, the city and Department of Justice just reached an agreement.
And the deal here is intended to create a better relationship between residents and the local justice system. Wink News anchor Jen Stacy, she's been following for this story this morning. She has more. Jen.
Well, Sean and Therese, the police force apparently the city will maintain control of the police force and municipal courts. The police department will have to overhaul, though, its policies and its training as well as its practices. These conditions are part of this new agreement. If you remember, nationwide protests and riots lasted for days after the August 2014 shooting of Brown, who was black and unarmed, by a white police officer. Darren Wilson claims Brown punched and charged at him. This new agreement between the city of Ferguson and the Department of Justice is intended to create peace in the community. But now, many activists are furious and say these agreements come at a high cost.
It's really a commitment on behalf of a government if you enter into one of these consent decrees that you're not only going to follow through with it, but you're going to pay for a lot of it as well.
Among the highlights of the deal is a requirement that all police officers, supervisors, and jail workers be outfitted with body-worn cameras and microphones within 180 days of the agreement taking effect. Those cameras, meant to promote accountability, are to be activated for all traffic stops, arrests, searches, and encounters with people believed to be experiencing a mental health crisis. Trace, over to you.
All right, Jen, thank you. A grand jury has indicted the wife of an Illinois police officer who officials say killed himself after allegedly embezzling from a youth program. Melody Glinowitz is charged with felony counts of money laundering and using charitable funds for personal benefits. Last year, police say that her husband, Charles Glinowitz, staged his suicide to look like a homicide because he feared he would be exposed for embezzlement.
Today, the Chemical Safety Board will release its full report on how many fertilizer plants in Texas are located near schools, hospitals, and neighborhoods. Many of you may remember seeing videos like this one showing a plant in West Texas in 2013. You may remember the explosion there killed 15 people and leveled several homes and buildings around that explosion there. And the board's their reports show there are 80 plants in Texas that store more than 5 tons of ammonium nitrate. 19 of them operate within a half-mile of a school, hospital, or nursing home. More than 30 of them are within a quarter-mile of residents. Today, Michigan lawmakers are expected to vote on an emergency spending bill that would allocate $28 million in additional funding to address the lead contamination in Flint's water system. Now, some of the money would pay for more bottled water, water filters, and the monitoring of children who are at risk of developmental delays because of their exposure to increased amounts of lead. Meanwhile, legislation to address the water crisis is likely to come up today on Capitol Hill in D.C. as the Senate takes up a bipartisan bill on energy policy. Okay, switching it up a little bit, a pretty quirky story is trending online this morning. Actor Paul Rudd taking on theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking in a game of quantum chess.
It's a short video called Anyone Can Quantum. It premiered at Caltech's One Entangled Evening and shows the two opponents facing off to see who will give the event's keynote speech. Well, Rudd plays the superhero Ant-Man, whose powers are the result of quantum mechanics in that movie Ant-Man. The night was dedicated to the work of Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman. Anyone Can Quantum is surprisingly smart and funny, and also narrated by Keanu Reeves.
Quantum chess, a variant of regular chess in which every piece is endowed with quantum powers. Take this queen, for example. Unlock her true powers, and this quantum queen can move twice in a single turn. The catch? There is an equal chance the queen never moved. The opponent may attack any of the queen's positions, forcing her to reveal her true location.
I don't understand any of this.
Does anyone else understand any of this? Nope, not me. But if you are a Paul Rudd fan, you can watch the whole video on Caltech's YouTube channel, IQ. I am Caltech. It's actually pretty entertaining. Paul Rudd's just funny in general.
I love they got the amazing acting techniques of Keanu Reeves to narrate.
Great voice.
This one
That's too funny.
Matrix sound. All right, coming up on Week News this morning, Barbie has evolved. Curvy, tall, and petite. The iconic American doll has adopted a few new looks. We'll show you more coming up. Plus,
coming up on Wing News this morning, we'll take you to the Barbie Man for 42nd Street. Can I be a Broadway dancer? We'll find out next on Wing News this morning.
All right, welcome back to Wink News this morning at WXCW. All new on Wink. Sean and I have been working on our tap dancing, but it's pretty much better and taking over the Barbie Man Performing Arts Hall in Fort Myers as the Fifth Third Bank Broadway series continues.
but Wink News reporter John Treeweiler takes us to meet those dancing feet on 42nd Street.
From tap dancing to one of the most eclectic and vibrant collections of wardrobe on Broadway.
I think you do fantastic.
Really?
I'm very proud of you.
In Fort Myers, John Treeweiler, Wink News This Morning.
42nd Street plays through Sunday, the Barbara B. Mann Performing Arts Hall, so you can still check it out.
You can't get Tree, though, when you go to see it, but it looks like the show will just do it just fine. He's pretty good.
I know. I love his stuff because he always puts himself out there, and he did a great job on that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Coming up right after the break, you'll get your most accurate weather forecast with Wink News meteorologist Scott Zedeker.
Plus, the Week News Flash, all today's headlines and more. You're watching Week News This Morning on WXCW.
Weekend looking good after a cold start on Saturday of 46 degrees.
All right, it is time for the Week News Flash. All today's headlines for the world of news, sports, entertainment, and more.
We start with breaking news out of Collier County, where one person is dead after a crash along Airport Pulling Road and Prospect Avenue.
I want to take you out right now to Week News reporter Stephanie Susskind. She's been live at the scene all morning with the very latest. Stephanie.
Well, just within the past 20 minutes or so, a tow truck has arrived on scene out here on Airport Pulling Road to start loading that car up onto a tow truck and take it away after this deadly crash that happened a little bit after 5 o'clock this morning. And Florida Highway Patrol troopers have been on scene ever since. They're still investigating exactly how this crash happened. Now, what they've been able to tell us within the past hour or so is that small car was actually heading northbound on Airport Pulling Road toward Progress Avenue this morning when it crossed the median into the southbound lanes and it was hit by an Entenmann's delivery truck. Now, what the troopers are trying to find out is if there was a third car that was involved in this crash that actually hit that small Nissan and pushed it over the median. They're looking to get surveillance video from the surrounding businesses to try to get a better idea of exactly what happened and what caused this crash. But as we mentioned, it was a deadly crash. Unfortunately, the driver, female driver of that small car, died in this crash. So they're working to get the car up on the tow truck right now. There still are some troopers here in this right-hand turn lane, so they will still be here for some time, but it looks like they're starting to work to get things cleared up out here. Reporting live in Collier County, Stephanie Susskind, Wink News This Morning.
We continue the Week News Flash with a look at this morning's top stories. Donald Trump still refuses to attend tonight's 7th GOP debate in Iowa amid an ongoing feud with hosts on Fox News.
Yeah, aside from that, he does have plans and said Republican presidential frontrunner continues to promote his fundraiser for veterans taking place at Drake University at the exact same time that Megyn Kelly's giving that debate there. Again, Trump's chief rival right now, Ted Cruz, has proposed the two take part in a one-on-one debate this Saturday in Sioux City, though not sure when or if it'll happen.
The leader of an armed group is joining federal officials in Oregon and asking those still occupying a federal wildlife refuge to go home. Amon Bundy made the statement through his attorney on Wednesday following his initial court appearance. Bundy and several others were arrested Tuesday during a violent traffic stop in which one person was killed. Other peaceful arrests have followed since, as still other protesters have been allowed to leave.
Syrian peace talks will begin in Geneva tomorrow, but we still do not know who will be there. The Syrian government has agreed to attend, but Russia and Turkey are at odds over who will represent the opposition. Meanwhile, fighting in Syria continues. So far, more than 250,000 people have died in the country's 5-year war.
A CBS News investigation is exposing the Wounded Warrior Project, claiming it spends a lot of your hard-earned money not on care for heroes, but on lavish trips and parties for its staffers. This comes because of that troubling investigation, as donors here in Southwest Florida tell us they will now think twice about giving to that charity. Comparable organizations and even local veterans we spoke with say they spend about 95% on their veterans. And now in the Wink News Flash, stories that are new right now off the Wink wires. The World Health Organization says Zika virus is spreading explosively.
And now an emergency team will decide whether to declare the outbreak an international health emergency. Zika virus is in more than 20 countries, mostly in Central and South America. This is according to the CDC. The virus is linked to birth defects and neurological problems. Right now, there is no treatment or vaccine.
Today, Italian lawmakers begin debating legalizing civil unions for gay couples. Thousands of supporters have rallied ahead of the debate. Italy is the only country in Western Europe that doesn't recognize same-sex unions. Critics are targeting a so-called stepchild clause in the civil union debate. If passed, a gay or lesbian partner will be able to adopt the biological child of his or her partner. Some conservatives argue this would encourage surrogacy, which is illegal in Italy.
Next time you go get a Diet Coke, you might notice a new look. For the first time ever, Diet Coke will be available in millions of unique package designs with the launch of its Diet Coke It's Mine program. The continuation of the brand's Get a Taste campaign launches February 1st. Diet Coke partnered with HP to create millions of one-of-a-kind designs to be featured on the bottles, meaning no two are the same. Okay, in sports this morning, five-time Australian Open champion Novak Djokovic will play for his 6th championship. The #1 player in the world beat 4-time winner and 3rd-ranked player Roger Federer earlier this morning in the semifinals. Djokovic started hot, winning the first 2 sets, 6-1 and 6-2. He lost the third 3-6, but won the 4th to secure his final spot. This was the 45th meeting of the two. It was tied at 22-all. Not Djokovic. He's got the edge. He'll face either #2 ranked Andy Murray or 13th ranked Milos Raonic in the final. The season did not end quite as New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady would have liked. You see this here. He's trying to show a little grace in defeat. On his Facebook, Brady posted this handwritten note to the Patriot fans. It's a pretty standard thank you note. He thanks the fans for sticking with the team through all the injuries and says how proud he is to play for the New England Patriots. San Francisco Giants ace pitcher Tim Lincecum is a free agent for the first time in his career. Nicknamed the Freak, he has won 2 Cy Young Awards and 3 World Series titles. One man is offering his own money for the Giants to re-sign the pitcher Tom Anderson. If you don't recognize the name, you may know him as Tom from MySpace. That's right. Remember him? He's a #1 friend. The social media founder is offering to pay Lincecum's salary next year.
All right, there are new Star Wars attractions in the works for Disney, and Han Solo himself will be unveiling some of the plans. The 14-acre Star Wars editions are planned for both Disney World and Disneyland. Harrison Ford will give fans an inside look at the attractions during the Wonderful World of Disney special on February 21st. That special will celebrate the 60-year legacy of the Disneyland theme park. Can't believe it's been 60 years already. Meanwhile, it may sound crazy to some, but there are still people who have not seen Star Wars The Force Awakens yet, which even includes a veteran of 3 Star Wars movies, Natalie Portman. She played Padmé Amidala in the Star Wars prequels. She did say she's only heard good things about the movie, but she's been a little busy, of course. Portman produced and stars in Jane Got a Gun, which opens on Friday. And whether you're a Back to the Future fan or maybe you just love cars, you'll be excited to know the DeLorean is going back to the future and into production. The made famous by the Back to the Future movies, the car there hasn't been made for more than 3 decades. But the CEO of DeLorean Motors, Stephen Wynn, says for the first time the car will be manufactured on American soil. The company will build replica 1982 DeLoreans under a low-volume manufacturing bill approved by the federal government. They hope to have the first new DeLorean roll off for the production line early next year. Could be pulling up to work in one of those.
You got to put the flux capacitor in it and you're good to go.
Obviously. All right, a big story trending this morning is the evolution of Barbie. The iconic doll will now come in 3 new body types and a variety of skin tones and hairstyles.
Here's the breakdown. There will be tall, petite, and curvy. This is the first time the doll will be available in body types beyond its original stick-thin frame. Online sales start today on Barbie.com. You can get them in stores starting March 1st. There will be a total of 33 new dolls by the end of the year.
Finally, a short brunette one like me.
There you go.
Perfect.
See? One for everyone there. All right, you're watching Quick News this morning on WXCW.
We're back in less than 3 minutes with your final forecast.